Seeing anything happening live? What's going on, Facebookers? What's going on, YouTubers? It's Wednesday. I'm going to try to do this video. Trying to see if I have any audio. I got any audio? Someone type in there, say I got some audio. Trying to get this to come up on my other phone under my live, and it's not coming up. There it is. See if we got some audio. Don't know. I got any audio? Hello? No audio. Well, shit. Can't hear nothing. Got any audio, anybody? Nope. No audio. Fuck. Oh, I got audio, Jeff? You say I got audio? I don't have it on YouTube. I mean on Facebook. The text is coming up. I'm just not hearing anything. Hello, hello? Hello? There it is. All right. All right, cool. We got audio. All right, we're good to go. Good. Let's get this thing started.
Yeah. Breaker, no South Jersey checking in. Danny in the shop where the real ones begin. 454s, 2290s, 28 setting knocks, all ACs.
All right, we got audio. Thanks, Jeffrey. Appreciate it, man. So we got a few things going on today. I'm going to go ahead and cut to the chase on this. It's about lunchtime for people out here on the East Coast, and thinking about sneaking off to lunch early. It's Wednesday. Decided to do this video around lunchtime today just because people like to waste their time at lunch looking at Facebook and YouTube. So, figured it'd be a good time to do this. Alright, so what I have here is in the description. It says it is a 300 amp special switching power supply, and in the description it says the special is the extra 100 amps that I have in there just for the driver. The guy that I built this for is going to be running a similar situation to what I have here. He has a 2879C box and an 8-pill, and then he has a 2-pill driver, Cycle Zip 22879 driver. And I'm going to mock up similar to what output powers he's going to have, and then we'll bring this up to full output power as far as the voltage where we ride at and how much drive we can put into these units. So this isn't really about the amplifier and the wattage on this video. This is about the power supply and what it can and can't do. So as you can see, I also over here I have a little meter that matches the system. The guy ordered this after he ordered the power supply. He says, hey, I got some birds, I need a dual cabinet. So I set him up with a matching sticker pack for the dual kit, and then he'll install the meters and cables and such when he gets it there home. Whichever meters he decides to put in are the digital ones that DWIN is making or selling, and or the original OEM bird meters, or the aftermarket ones that you can get on eBay. So that would be Matt from Watts Electronics over there on eBay. So there you have a little list of things happening here. One thing I got to say is the power supplies are harder to come by these days. So I had recently pulled my power supply and base station what do you want to call lists off the internet, just because if you don't have product to sell, you can't advertise it. So I had this is the actual last power supply I'm going to be doing for a while until I find a good vendor for other power supplies. Now that's me being honest with you guys, so I'm not trying to pull the wool up over anybody's eyes or anything like that. These are it's been a problem with power supply modules and getting the correct ones that work well for quite some time now. So With that said, at least as far as new product goes, as far as used product goes, you could probably get some and don't know how long they're going to last and such. But for the most part, for what we're using this stuff for, they last a good amount of time. I know I have a lot of these power supplies out there, especially the old school ones when I used to build with 30 amp modules. There's a lot of them out in Hawaii. I think I have 4, 5, 600 amperes out there. I have probably a dozen 360 plus amp power supplies out there, and etc. So a lot of units. I build these power supplies, and typically I never see them again. On a rare occasion, you get a lightning strike, a big voltage surge in your electrical grid at the house. You could lose your equipment. So you guys got to think about it. In an electrical storm, you need to unplug your equipment, not just unplug your coax to your antenna. That's going to save your radio, but you can still get zapped through the 120 or 240 volts through your electrical service panel at your house. So if you are in a high lightning zone, then I highly suggest when you unplug, not only just do your coax, do the power plugs to your equipment too, if you want to take and try to save that equipment from getting hit from lightning. So just something to talk about. I know we're a lot past the lightning phase in the world right now. Springtime has gone past and we don't have a lot of lightning storms right now. So that said, we're going to kind of get things moving along here. We're going to take and say hello to Molly down here. Hi Molly, how are you? You good girl? You resting? That's what you're doing? All right, here. Since you're so energetic, I'll give you a peanut. Maybe we'll come back in 5 minutes and you'll be a little more energetic. So there you have it. This is from Walmart next door, ICA Manufacturing. It's one of their dual bird meter cabinets. There's no, I think this might have air diding on it. I'm not sure, but they're just there's no clear coat on these cases to keep the cost down. So if you choose to, you can take your lid off of here and probably be smart to prime it, and then you can paint it with some color or do whatever you're going to do. But kind of just remember, you're coating raw material. So, but it does have a grind to it where they put it through a regrind machine, so it's smooth one way, kind of rough the other. But either way, these cabinets are really nice. It's not something you touch and chicken fingers and get it all greasy. So it's just something you look at. All right, so let's get into this power supply. There's a lot of business in the back. And unfortunately, I ain't set up to actually even look at it too much, so we're going to take a look. We're going to turn it a little bit. All right, at the bottom of this unit, you see 4 little buttons here. They are in order as far as how the switches would go, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you have an air hole here. You have a 120 millimeter 108 CFM fan blowing in, and then obviously you can see a radio jack. I have some cheap little wires in here. In fact, it was just a standard harness with like a 2 amp fuse in it, and I blew the fuse last night, so I put a larger fuse in there so I wouldn't break it. But that's going to run the Dustin R&R Cobra 29 right there. Now in the back end of this thing, now this big post here, the 1/2 inch post, is a positive. This is set up at right around 15.6, somewhere right in there, and it's got 300 amps coming off this stud here. Now this ground is a 500 amp shunted ground, so we can read up to 500 amps. Obviously it's never going to make it there, but it's also a 1/2 inch bolt, and you're sharing the ground from this one and the special down here. There's another stud right here, and that's the 100 amp all by itself, and that'll run the driver. Now they do share the same grounds, and the reason for that is for you can measure your equipment through the shunt. So that said, we're going to take and look at this. Now, as far as the meter goes, these units they're 10%. So if you want to understand what 10% tolerance is, it's not going to be dead on. So that'd be like 1%. And so they're not, this meter is going to be a reference. So it's going to either show you a little bit higher, a little bit low, kind of like a bird when you have multiple different slugs. Some slugs show you the same as others, and they're measured about half scale, etc. Well, this meter here, the voltage is pretty true and true, but the amperage will deviate a little bit. It's 10%. So with that said, we got that out of the way, and like I said, this isn't a science system where we're in a science laboratory and all the equipment's like super expensive. I mean, these meters, they can go from $15 to $25 a piece, and it's a good reference. Now this is something that we're using. Again, I'm using a piece of equipment or a device that's not for its sole purpose. These units are designed to either run and measure 50 amps or 100 amps. So my thoughts were kind of like looking at the bird stuff. You have a meter and you have a carriage, and then you have different heat elements. That's what we're measuring, is heat and bird. And they have different elements. So the elements are going to take and deviate a little bit, and they're about 10% as well. Bird might be about 5%. But either way, this one here, I think in the instructions says about 10% on positive or negative tolerances as far as how well they work. Now, you turn on the first switch, and the light will come on, depending on where, because we're sharing the voltmeter here. So this is on the 100 amp switch, and we're sharing the voltmeter. Now, if this switch is up, that's not going to come on. It's not going to come on until you turn on one of these three switches. So with that said, this turns on the 100 amp power supply over here, and the switch here will take and allow you to take and get your reading as far as the meter goes. Now, if you don't want to look at the blue, we can just push the button one time, and now just regular no backlight on it. So now you see a lot of reflections off my orange shirt. So you can see I'm at 12.76 amps right now. There's no fans running. There's nothing happening. And if I can take and turn the voltage up, let's say that's all the way down. So the minimum voltage all the way down is 12.76 volt. And this will allow you to control the output of your driver. So we obviously know a 3 pill is a little bit too much for a 5, or an 8, I should say. And we're going to run it probably pretty low. But just to show you the throw, as I'm spinning this knob of the voltage, it goes as high as 16.2 volts. And normally, these things normally on the digital meters and such, they normally show a drop of 2 or 3/10 of a volt. And that's all right. That's just part of what's going on. So we're going to roll this all the way back here, and we'll go back down to this 12 something, wherever minimum is. And the amplifier will be ran at minimum. And so with that on, we're looking at that. Now, if I turn on the fan, let's see if we got a little amperage draw or not. So you got a little 0.2 of an amp draw right there. All right, so it's showing you that it's functioning right there. Now, if I take and decide to say, oh, I want to take and turn on a big power supply, well, you got 3 switches. Each one's 100 amps. I'll cut that off there. And you see the voltage never changed because you have to hit the switch and you flip it up. Now, it's showing you where we're at our resting voltage, idling voltage at 300 amps, and showing pretty much the current that you're seeing happening is from the internal fan inside of this. Now we're going to add 4 more fans to that, and now we're drawing a little bit more current. No, it's not 32 amps. It is what it is. But really quick, let me cut this off. You can hear me. If I take and hold this button down, it's going to go through a setting. That's a low and high volt setting. That's clearing stuff. And this tells my current, and it's holding at 50. You want to have it at 50 amp selection. Now, that's where you're going to get your truest reading. If you have it in the wrong mode, I told you the last one I built had a little problem. And so you can change it. You see, you make it 100, and it'll stay there, but we don't want it there. We want it at 50. So you want to make sure it's in 50, and you're good to go. So with that said, let's take a look at what's happening here, and we'll just run just the driver for now. Let me take and light up my meter here, my other meter, and I shut something off. So I got to have that one on to run the radio. I'll explain that in a second. All right, so we turn this on real quick. We'll go to negative there. Turn that over there 3 times. 1, 2, 3. There we go, and we are ready to rock with a tone. Now, the radio jack is not hooked up on the 100 amp power supply. Why is that? Because I have variable voltage here, and you don't want to try to take and turn your radio up too far. Now, if you chose to hook up a radio on this stud, mind you, the voltage of your radio. So just try to understand, you don't want to ever go over 15.23 volts somewhere in there, because the components in the radio could fail. Yeah, your radio will do more power, but it could fail if you have too many volts on it. Now, just keep that in mind. Now, if you did decide to not run on the 6 amp stud that I have back here, this black and red wire, that's only good for 6 amps. You could tie in off the positive, the negative here, and pull off the positive down here with a radio jack if you want to have controlled voltage with your radio and your driver. Now, I just give you guys a warning now. You remember, this can go up to 16.2 volts. I don't want to see you blow a radio up. So keep that in mind. Mind your voltage with this knob. You are your own worst enemy as far as this goes. Now, going back over here to the driver, we're going to take a look at that. Now, again, I have to have one of the 3 on the 300 amp side running to run the radio. So I have the radio plugged in, see the cord going up, and I got it kind of janky stuffed in the hole. So we'll turn this on, and we're just going to take and throw a tone in here and see what we got going on here. So it's looking like I'm drawing right around 30 amps. Disregard the decimal point now. So I'm at 30 amps, just disregard the decimal point. And I'm holding, 12.6 volts, somewhere right in there. So it's about 1/10 of a volt or a little better. So let's take a look here. We got a 250 watt slug here and a 25 watt slug input reflection. Let's take a look at my input drive level. So at that level of drive, it's giving me right about 135 watts of RMS power. 135 watts of RMS power is pretty good. Turn on another meter here. So if I wanted to look at that in RMS mode, let's see what my radio is putting out. There's a 25 watt slug right here. And that's making my radio produce right at 9 watts RMS at the voltage that's coming off the back of this thing and driving into this unit right here. So put about 9 watts of drive into this 3 transistor unit, and it's giving me an overall of, like I said, right around 130, 135. Now my peaker tweaker time, it's talking like I'm 450 watts. I don't know if that's all true and true. Let's go to another slug here, measure it this way, 325. That's a little bit more real at 325 watts. Now let's take a look in. This is a 2500 watt slug, and each line is 50 watts. 1, 2, 3, 25, somewhere right in there, RMS. So I'd say that's actually showing me a little funny, but anyway, like I said, it's not about the wattage, it's about how this power supply is performing. So if I said, hey, I want more power, just take and crank up. And remember, the driver's down to minimum power right now. Let's take and just crank this thing on up to, let's say 14, whatever, 8, somewhere in there. Close. All right, 14.9. All right. Now we're drawing 33.3 amps. See what my 250 watt slug did. Now remember, the driver's all the way down. Now I'm actually producing 160, 150, 60, each line's 5, 60, 70, 170, almost 170 watts of drive. Now that's backed all the way down, and I still got a lot of headroom because the driver's back down. Right? This is normal voltage right here. So let me just see if I got a carrier or not. Little one. All right, good enough. All right, so now I just turned the amplifier up. It's going to ask for more draw. All right, more current. There's 47.3 amps out of a 3-pill. Now again, that's probably a little high. I'll hook up an amp meter in a second. But look at my drive power. I just went up over 250 watts just by simply turning that up. So enough of that. Let's take and turn that back down. Actually, let's turn it back up for a second. Turn this on. Now I said that these meters are, for the most part, a reference. We have about 10%. So let's see where we're at on our amperage draw. So we're showing 47.2 here. I'm not showing nothing on this one because I got it on the wrong clamp. All right, let's see if we got it again. All right, so I'm showing about 41 here. So it gives you a little idea that it's a good reference. It's 10%. I mean, you have a tolerance that we get with this equipment. We can't make it exact. I wish I really could, but I can't. What's going on, Birdman? All right, so that was wide open. Let's turn this back and let's start making things starting to function over here. So let's say we want to drive all the way down. Let's take and back everything down. Let's roll this voltage down. We'll take and get going with this equipment here. All right, so now we're drawing about 30 amps, a 25 here, so it's about 5 off. Driver's all the way down, and I'm producing again about 135 watts of drive. Now this is going to go into an 8 transistor unit, 8 2879Cs, the pill that nobody likes. I don't understand it, guys. You guys just beating up the wrong tree, dealing with the wrong guys. So let's turn on some power supplies. Here we go. So flip this one up. We're showing we're hanging out right around 15.6 or so. I'm going to move this over to the other line. Get a reference again. Let's turn this thing on. So again, not too concerned about dead key, but I'm gonna see where I'm at. Don't have one. Alright, we got a little dead key. Alright, a little noise in this thing. Let's take a look down here and let's see what this thing is drawing and where she's going to. Yeah, you're right, Steve. They don't know how to tune them. Not my fault. I do. Alright, here you go. We're drawing right around 147 amps is showing on that one. And we're showing a 131 on this one. So, about 10, 12 off, somewhere right in there. Like I said, it's a reference. It's just showing you that your equipment's operating and it's working like it's supposed to. This is putting a pretty good solid load on there. Now, if I were to take and put a voice on this, it'd dance all over the place. So if I go like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, audio, hello, 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 hello. So you can kind of see what's happening there. As you do a voice, the amperage is going to go up and it's going to go down, and the voltage is going to go left and right, and it's just part of its breathing. Now when I take and I put a 300 hertz tone on this thing, it's like putting a load or a load tester on it. It's giving me the full output. Like, remember, I used to go yo like that and hit that certain tone. You hit that maximum current draw and etc. So 300 hertz tone gives me somewhere right in there, 149 amps or so at 15.37. So like I said, that's a couple tenths of a volt change. Now what's going on if I were looking at my driver? Now you're going to see that amperage number is still going to be high, because why? It's sharing everything. You see, it's still the same number, it's just sharing everything over on either side. So even if you're down here in the driver, your amperage is still going to read on what's happening on the whole system right here in this display. So in either mode you go to, it's showing you what you need to see. Now as far as the output power goes, and this is where the control side of this little unit, as you can see, it's turned all the way down. We're going to keep it there, and we're going to take and look at how we can take and manipulate this driver to make this system do more power where I sit right now without touching anything else. So by doing that, I got to look at my output power, and I'm going to key up, and we're producing, like I said, 130, 135, right? So if I turn this up, it's going to take too long, so I'm going to on key. I'll turn that thing up, and now I'm producing 165, 170. Make it 175. There's 175. All right, beautiful. The 175 brought this unit up to right around whatever it says there, 1200. Let's see what the RMS is here. Well, 1300. Let's see what it is over here. 1300. Let's see and see what the peaker says. The peaker tweaker says 2250. Now, I'm making good power. If you take and look at the wattage input drive. All right, you have wattage input drive, and we are at 175. All right, we're at 175, and we're going to divide that by 8. And that tells me that we're putting 21.875 watts per transistor into the 2879C. Thanks, Remy. You said you love the colors. So we're not full. We're at 25 watts, would be close to full. At 30, you're going to probably break some stuff. All right. So we can go back and talk about the transistor, the chips. There's 6 chips inside this transistor. Each chip is equivalent to 5 watts of drive maximum. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You see what I'm saying now? That's max. That's full up. You're going to be breaking stuff. But if I were to take and bring this unit up, let's say we're at 175. Let's say I say I'm going to go to 200 watts. Divide that up 8 times, and that's 25 watts of transistor. So let's just see if we can make 200 watts real quick. Where are we at on our voltage right now? We're at 1498, and we have the amplifier minimum. So this is probably where this guy would be running, where I'm stopped at 175. So let's see if we can make that 200. She didn't do it. There it is. All right, 15.9, 15.7, 15.9. I'm making almost at 200. Not quite. I'm not gonna, don't want to force it too much more, so I'll turn this up a little, see where we're at, and I can back it down. This is where that control comes in. I'm looking for a certain number. See, I went past it. So let's back down the voltage a bit. There's my 200 watts right on top of it. Okay, so 200, 200, 200, everything's happy. And show me a little higher there, a little 225 on that one. But either way, it's 200 watts of drive. Now we're going to look at what we're drawing on the system running. Here you go. So you can do this. Turn on that box. Now here's your draw. Amperage as well. So now we have 166, 167 amps. Show me 145, 146 to be true. Drive level. Right there touching at 200. Inputs are still very happy. Alright, the 2500 watt slug here. And showing me 1250 here. Let's see what it shows me on the digital. 1350. Didn't increase much in the peak, and it's never going to increase. You know, it picked up a little just for a touch, maybe 50 watts here or there, but you're at maximum drive. You're at 25 watts per transistor of drive. So that would fill this up. So if you have an 8-pill 2879C box, depending on the voltage you're at, you're going to be maxing out at 25 watts a transistor. Now, where you want to run it, 18.75 watts a pill? You could. I tell the guys to use that in the standard. So I tell them just run her about 20 watts a transistor. And what was our 20 watts? I believe we were hanging out right around 175 watts to make that 20 watts a transistor. So if I go back and simply change the voltage, 14.8, going 175. There you go, 175. There we're hanging out. So where are you going, chickadee? So we're at 175 watts. Here you go. We're at 175 watts of drive. It gives you 21 point whatever, I think it said, 175 divided 8. No, that did not work out. 75 divided 8 times. 21.8, so almost 22 watts of transistor, and you're still good. I mean, there's wiggle room at that point, but at the end of the day, you guys, I try to design circuits and things that it's going to make it user friendly. And the package I put together here, I believe it's very user friendly. You have an amp meter that'll tell you a lot of what's going on in reference of output power, and also you can see controlled voltage when you need it. We're at 14 volts there, we're at 15.6 here. So again, I got my driver back pretty far down, and I'm producing 175 watts of power. So with that said, 175 watts of power in return is going to make my 8 run somewhere right in this area. The peak's always going to be up there, but it puts me right about 1300 watts RMS power. And the peak is going to be, 22, 2250, somewhere right in there. So as far as it goes, even if I use the voice and I start talking this thing, audio, oh, I should put a little dead key on it. All right, audio, 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. Audio 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. Audio 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. Audio. I'm just loafing along. Realistically, I'm just loafing, and we can take it and sit there and talk into the microphone. Yeah, I'm doing 1,000 watts with an 8-pill. Oh yeah, they can do a lot more power. They sure can. And how long you want to talk and how long do you want it to last? I think it follows the ghost. So if you take and say, oh, I'm going to get a 3-pill, I'm going to run it wide open, I'm going to put 250 watts of drive into my 8-pill. Let's see what that 250 is going to do to that 8-pill. 31.25 watts a transistor. So I would honestly expect that you would be into overdrive, and this amplifier would maybe last you a week if you sat there and ran it to full tilt all the time. So buyer beware. Control is here, and A lot of times it happens at your driver if you have something with an internal driver. So that's part of your system. This is system here. This guy bought everything. He got a wireless remote kit. He got a 2-pill. He got an 8-pill. Now he just got this power supply. And then he's going to add this meter. He's going to have a nice looking system. And hopefully he'll post it up on Facebook and show you everybody how he's got his stuff set up and just show it off a little bit. It's going to be a gorgeous system for him, and hopefully he's going to enjoy it. So there you have it. There's not a whole lot more that I can take and do or say on what's going on here. I was like I said, I take and doing a video to take and give a reference on how these things work and what they do and what you should expect out of them. As far as the 240 volt service goes, I wire them up with, you know, like these other plugs that we've used for years. The three big 50, 40, or 50 amp terminal plug. But he's got a 4 plug that I need to wire up on this unit, so I have to unwire that one just so I can wire his up. I had to do this just because of the test, but at the end of the end, it's all good. So there you have it. I will take and keep everybody in the loop as far as when and if I'm coming back with power supply stuff. But right now, unfortunately, I got a lot of money invested in chassis and meters and shunts and etc., but I'm kind of missing the pistons for the motor, and power supplies are seeming to get very, very difficult to get your hands on to take and make things work like we expect they should every day. So there you have it. Where's Molly at? I think she ran away. Come here. You want some peanuts there, shorty? What you thinking? Hi. Hi, Molly. What, you gonna sit pretty? You gonna wave? Yeah. You like to wave. Peanut. There you go. There's your peanut. So, what's going on with you? You ready to go down to North Carolina? You can go down to the break and see everybody? Yes? You gonna take this? There you go. So, you gonna take a road trip? We're all going down to Tar Heel State. We're gonna go down to Scooter and Criddles and Watermelon Man's Break. Yeah? You're so pretty. You gonna wave? Oh, there you go. You can catch it. Yeah, there you go. So the flyer is pinned at the top of my page in Facebook. So if you guys want addresses, hotels, and such, just go to my page, Danny Frechette, on Facebook, and then you'll be able to take and get the location of that function for August 5th and 6th. So the actual key down is going to be Friday night and Saturday. So Friday night they're going to be, don't know where the peanut went, Molly. Friday night they're going to be taking and doing 1 antenna and 2 antenna stock volt class. Saturday, I believe they're doing 2 antenna high up to 22 volts on 2 antennas, and then they'll do multi-antenna 22 volts and up. So, or 22 volts I should say, is the ceiling on it. Now, that said, this whole 22 volt thing, listen guys, if you go up to 22, 50, 22.5 volts, you may as well kiss your amplifier goodbye. It's going to break. It's going to break. So they make the rules to say, oh, go ahead, you go to 22, and it's not going to break there, but if you go past it, you're going to break it there. I honestly don't care. If they even went up to 23, 24 volts, 23 volts, let's say, they're going to be breaking standard transistors. HG, they kind of deteriorate, especially the C's. They deteriorate about 22.5, and just if you start to touch 23 volts, they're just going to leave the country on you. So if you're one of those guys and you're taking and trying to slide through and get those extra volts, and you're crying, I want meters on my truck, I want meters on his truck, you're supposed to go out there and be able to trust your component. And most everybody that's keying today knows each other, and they know the ins and outs, but what they do know is no one's really, quote unquote, has took a stab at trying to cheat everybody out of their day, let's call it. So there's always that one guy that wins a lot, and the first thing that comes out of people's mouths say they're cheating. And that's not always true. He's having a really good day, and you all ain't having such a good day. That's all. But at the end of the day, these functions are supposed to be fun, and go out there and enjoy yourselves, and take in, communicate with your fellow CBers that you are local with or not, or you've seen somebody that you meet somebody that's from a different state, and they drove a long ways to come over and shake people's hands, and those guys are there. So if you're at the break, don't be stuck up and don't say hi to anybody or anything like that. Everybody's there for the same reason. The love of CB radio. Isn't that right? Isn't that right, Molly? The love of the radio? The love of the game? Is that what they do? Yeah? You gonna say hello? Talk to me. Say hi. Hi? You gonna say hello? Yes? And then what? You don't know, do you? You just doing that just to do it? You gonna wave? Okay. Now you're a good girl, right? I'm all out of peanuts. We're all out. Yeah. You're full. You're full. You're full. You sure? You want to get the kitty? All right, we'll go get him. Go on. I'll meet you in a second. So there you go, guys. Again, there's a power supply for you. This is the last one going to be for a minute, but other than that, hopefully I'll see a lot of the folks down there at the break. I'll be rolling around. I'm not too hard to spot. So catch up to you later. Well, thanks a lot for watching the video. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube, please go over to 123 Built Chicago. Click on the live videos. It just says live on there, and then you'll see all the South Jersey and all the things that I do that are recent. A lot of the old videos are just old and they're still up there. But with that said, here's what it is. I'm doing the best I can at one person. It's just Molly and me. Isn't that right, Molly? You say bye-bye. You gonna say goodbye, Molly? Say bye. You wave. Say it. Say bye-bye. Very good. See ya. See you later. See ya. Bye-bye. All right, guys. Take care. God bless. I'm rolling off to the left. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. But like I said, go to my YouTube and click and subscribe. Check it out. Got a lot of different videos out there you guys can watch. And I get a lot of phone calls. What does this do? What does that do? I make videos. And I make videos and I post them publicly. So people, they either own my stuff or they don't. You can still follow the same rules I'm posting up on these videos and things that I'm talking about, because it should apply to your equipment. Most of the builders are pretty close to doing all about the same thing. Some of them know how to tune, some of them don't, but either way, pick your poison. Videos are free by me. I ain't charging anybody a dime for watching the videos. So go on and enjoy the videos. Take care of yourselves. Talk to you all soon. Sliding to the left. I'm out of here.